Hello folks, I'm LA Little and this is your daily TA wrap. Where we take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective. Each day asking ourselves, what happened today? And what does it tell us about tomorrow? We show 4 times a week, Monday through Thursday, live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time here from the base of the Rocky Mountains. Folks, I'm doing a show early today. I'm not going to be around this evening. The early show, it's almost closing time. We're getting pretty close here. As you can see, looking at the sectors, the IYT is leading, junk bonds, the semiconductors. This market tried to pull back today and once more finds no sellers. That's been the case for many days and months. And I'm popping over to the Dow. Look at the Dow. It looks like Coca-Cola is the leader. We had some earnings out of Travelers, out of Verizon, out of Johnson & Johnson. They all sold off. IBM after the bell today. We'll see how that is as I'm speaking. Probably this show. We'll see how it reacts, and we'll also see how the reaction is. What is the other one? There's another one coming up after the bell that was important. Let me see if I got it up here. Yeah, I don't have it up here, but we'll see. I'll get it before we get through here today and see what that one looks like as well. So IBM will be the big number after the bell. It's a large weighting, so that will be an important number. If we look at the indexes themselves, the indexes looks like they're going to close slightly lower on the Dow, and we're going to be about flat on the S&Ps, maybe up 2 or 3 points, I believe. And S&P's up 4 points, and Russell's up 0.5%. NDX is up leading along with the composite. Those have been the strongest ones. Those continue to lead. If we pop over and look at the SPY, we can see no volume. It looks like. Let's get a different, because I don't get volume updates intraday as rapidly as we want. They're delayed. I do get live updates here. So let's use this as our mechanism to look at the markets. So let me pull this in, tighten it up, and we'll use these charts today. So S&P, you can see traded down deep into that bar. That was the bar right from the 13th. That was the bar with the wide price spread on the way down. Trades into it. It's just about out of it. It looks like it's going to close right at the top of it, but not going to quite get out of it. Let's see what the volume looks like on the SPY. Yeah, there is no volume. So we push down, we have no volume, can't hold it down, there's just simply no sellers. Let's look at the NDX itself, or we can look at the Qs to see what the volume looks like there. Again, no volume. That one also pushed down, couldn't get into the 87.96 was that high, 87.67. And I don't always trust these numbers, so let me pop over and look and see on our, and what I mean by trust the numbers, I don't always trust these charts that are adjusted for dividends. And yeah, this one actually did get into it, got into it again today, couldn't break it down. So that was a retest regen, and what I'm talking about is this area here. If we look at it, the key area was this retest regenerate. We trade into it on Friday, we trade back into it today. There's no volume, there's no sellers, pops right back out, holds. The other one that had that retest regen attempt going on was the Russell. Let's look at the IWM in that case. And again, no volume, comes down. That top was 1597. We got to 1578. So the Russell also does the retest and also regenerates higher. So we've got the 2 tests that were important today, both of them testing, both of them holding, both of them no volume as it comes back. That looks to me like that thing is going to try to flip around and continue higher, as it has been. It's just no change, right? We've got the same situation, the same scenario going on here. Can't get a sell-off. You can't get any kind of a push to the downside. And when you can't get pushed to the downside, where else are you going to go? You're going to go back the other way, and that is what we continue to see. Let me see how the NDX looks live right at the top. Let's look at the composite. Also new highs, going to close at new highs. It looks like the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let's see, here it is here. That one can't get going. Volume, no volume there though. Still looks okay to me. Let's go over to the sectors real quick, see what they look like. IYT holding decent volume. Nothing different there. And we're going to have pretty good volume reads here, so I'll use the TA today charts. So starting with the IYT, yeah, it's right at the highs, just holding. Again, hang. I don't know how many times I've said hang over the last year. Every day, every way, it seems like we hang. Semiconductors were showing a little bit of strength. The semis had sold off. They're in resistance. They don't have much going on here, right? No volume, a little dead cat bounce it looks like to me, so nothing on the semis. If I look at the stocks, I mean the XLB gets over the high. That top was 46.22. It looks like it's going to close right at it or right below it. So that one is actually a negative as we're closing out the day here if it closes below. The XLE, got a decent bounce, but it's playing with these two. XLE is actually trying to build the case to go lower. You've had big bars to the downside. This last one was a huge bar. It goes over it today. Top of that bar, let me draw it in here. The top of this bar goes over it, back underneath it. It's going to close underneath it. Doesn't have the volume. That's a failure to get back over the big wide price spread bar, which suggests that it's going to flip around, try to go back the other way. If so, that's going to make it hard for the S&P to work higher. XLF. Financials, the big reporters. XLF is a non-starter. Can't go anywhere. It doesn't have any volume, just hanging. XLI, industrials have been strong, and they're hanging. So nothing there. XLK, definitely where the strength has been. This one's probably legged right back to the top. Yeah, it's right up there. Well, we have no volume anywhere today, do we? So XLK is hanging. So that's 4 out of 5 still hanging. The stocks in the XLE look weak. XLP actually test underneath the low, and it looks like it's going to hang there as well. XLU actually had some strength today. Let's see what it looks like on the chart. Yeah, it's going to go back after this high from last week, which is where the swing point high is. Looks to me like it's going to attack it, but doesn't have the volume, will probably fail. If we look at the XLV, which has been the strongest sector of late, a little doji at the highs, over the highs, still hanging. XLY, and that one actually had finished up an ABCD structure. XLY has been trying to break down and can't, still hanging as well. XRT, another version of the retail sector, it continues to try to break down. Just couldn't get anything going today. Ox markets, there we've got the bonds doing well today. Let's see what they look like in terms of how they are struggling higher. Bonds themselves continue to push. And it looks like they're going to turn here. Let's get the live quote on those and see what that looks like. So TLT. Let's see what the live numbers look like. Yeah, it's going to be barely over it. So it looks like the bonds are going to hold. And that means they can extend a little bit more. It looks to me like they're trying to get into and fill this gap area, which is just above 106. They are going to be closing about 105.60 or so, probably. So bonds still look positive to go a little bit higher and then potentially pull back. Typically, bonds move inversely to the market. So I guess we'll just have to see if that in fact is going to happen. FXE was weak again inside day. The UUP was trying to push higher. Let's see what it did, because we know that tapering, Hisenbroth, the Wall Street Journal, the Fed's leak is telling us that the Fed is going to taper next week. That's an inside day too. Boy, there's really not much out here. The only thing I saw out here today that was really interesting was there was two things. One, we actually saw gold trade lower, and here's the gold itself traded a little bit lower, so it's still inside the range. They're just kind of hanging. But if we look at the gold stocks, these guys flipped around and worked higher. So gold stocks starting to move relative to gold. That's an ABCD structure on the way up. Looks to me like it just finished it, the latest ABCD structure. So you got an ABCD structure here just about finished, right up into that area that we thought it was going to try to get to. I suspect you'll probably see a failure up here next. That's gold stocks. If we look at the gold market, well, we just looked at the gold market. If we look at the silver market, I'm guessing it's going to show us just about the same thing. And yeah, a little bit weaker. So there's really nothing out here. The other thing that was out here today was the relative strength of the Qs, right, versus the S&P 500, right? Huge difference in terms of the way these traded today. S&P still hasn't been able to get over the highs, whereas the Qs are over and holding. Big difference in divergence. What is that about? Well, it's really about Apple, right? Apple up another $8-9. Takeaway bar from Friday's down day. Doesn't have any volume, but hey, took it away. And if you take it away, you can go right back up there and press that top again. And that looks like what this is going to try to do. Now, if Apple does get over this high, Apple's going to set up an ABCD structure into earnings. Right? You got an A point, the B point, potentially a C point there. Earnings takes you right up to the highs, which would potentially break this thing out. Google's the other piece of the story. Google just continues to run higher. There's just like no stopping this thing. One day after another, just inches up, continues to inch higher. Microsoft, the other big weighting in the NDX, can't get going, just sitting there. And of course, we looked at the semis. They can't get going. So folks, to me, it's the same story we have seen over and over and over again. And that is that there are no sellers. And when you don't have sellers, it's pretty hard to sell off. Right? And I don't see any structure. Let's look at the S&P one more time. I don't see any structure here that's going to set up to allow a bigger sell-off. Yeah, we can pull back to the bottom end of the range, but there's just no structure in place for a large sell-off yet. Hasn't been, still isn't. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna print a swing point low here before long, right? Another bar. You're gonna have a swing point low off of this low, right? This is 1 bar, 2 bar, 3, 4, 5. One more bar, you'll get a print as long as it doesn't close or trade underneath this low, which looks like it's unlikely. You're going to end up with a swing point low at this low. That's going to be right at where the highs are. That's going to make this a target, and it's been a target. There's a range trade in effect, right, using that swing point low, which we'll print tomorrow, and using the highs here. And if we can go without making another higher high off of this high for another 2 bars, that will print as another high as well. So in other words, you'd have a swing point high here, you'd have a swing point high here. What is that? That's multiple swing points of the same time frame that potentially could break higher. And if you get that break higher, then it can carry, right? Then it can carry, and you can actually get a push up, and that would be a range breakout. That low is 1552. That high is about 50. Yeah, almost 50. So 15 to 50 is about 35. 35 onto the high would take you up to about 85. So 1885 or so would be the target. And if you go back and you look at the ABCD structure, right, they're almost going to come out exactly at the same price point. And when you see that, that gives you a pretty good indication, right, that that's where you want to be. And if you take this high, this low, and expand it, it's going to be right up there as well. So that becomes the target if you get this breakout. And if you go 2 more bars without a higher high from this bar, right, that will give you 2 swing point highs. You'll have a low down here, right? You'll have a highs, 2 highs up there. Break to the top side, That's the bigger break potential. A break to the bottom, well, that just simply gives you a better entry probably because you got a swing point low and you got a retest regen. It's never happened. That's what the markets look like. If I go over to Europe, they broke out the new highs today. If I look at Asia, Asia traded higher. Anywhere I look, it still looks bullish. I see so much gloom and doom. I see so many people calling for tops. Folks, I have no qualms with the potential for a trade to the downside, right? It needs to. But there's no structure in place for a major crash, which is what people keep calling for. Ain't going to happen. It's going to happen when the structure set up. Or at least it's going to have the potential to happen when the structure sets up. And until that happens, odds of it are extremely low. So don't be looking for that. Look for more range here. And let's see what IBM's doing after hours. The market just closed as I'm sitting here talking. Let me pop over and see what those earnings look like. IBM's trying to trade higher. There must be something else moving it though, because something's trying to press lower here. So let me pop over and see if I can get a read on what earnings are coming out. We'll finish up the show looking at those real quick and see what those charts look like. So let's pop in here and see what's happening. Texas Instruments, that's the other one I was thinking about. So let's go look and see what TI looks like. So TI today, Texas Instruments trades. Oh, this has been on a big run. So no, that's the wrong one. What is TXN? TXN, that's what I'm looking for. TXN, okay, right at the highs. Another one hanging at the highs and trying to break over them. This is a swing point high up there. Let's see where they're trading to after hours, because both of these should have just reported. So TXN's trading down $1, 68.05. That high today or near the close was 43.86. Texas Instruments trading up today, 43.86. That's about where it closed. They must not have reported yet because they're not doing anything. IBM evidently has reported because I can see them moving after hours. IBM, let's see if it traded up during the day. It's at 190.5 after hours, and that's about where it closed. So IBM also is just hanging after hours. I don't see anything happening here. There must be something else moving because I see some gyrations in the market after hours. Let's see if there's anything else big. Yeah, I don't see anything else big here. So, tomorrow we'll see where this market wants to go. But to me, it looks like this market's going to try to work sideways to higher again. I just don't see anything bringing it down. I'm going to leave it at that. Early show. Leave it for you late or you folks that come on at the regular time at 9 o'clock Eastern to watch it, and of course anybody else in between. I will not be around, so unfortunately I need to record it now and leave it for you for later. Thanks for listening as always, and I will catch up with you tomorrow. Have a great night, and I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Good night.